What is going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am glad that we are here together right now, getting ready for our session here. Take a look at the markets. There's a lot to talk about. It's going to be a fun session. I look forward to each and every one of them. I love when I get in this room, hear the music playing, and start seeing those thumbs flying and seeing your guys' positive vibe lifting me up. Thank you, each and every one of you. Giles, you know the love here is palpable, right? Much love, my brother. Oracle, the next big corporate buyer, according to Max Kaiser. I've also been on message with that ever since Elon flew out to Hawaii to meet with Larry Ellison of Oracle, saying that Larry sits on the board of Tesla. Probably Elon flew out there after Michael Saylor tweeted him about putting Bitcoin on his balance sheet, probably consulting the great Larry Ellison about what he should do, how he should do it. And there had already been talk about Oracle going to be the first tech company to go ahead and put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Will Oracle be next? Will it be Salesforce? Will it be Apple? I don't know. Is Apple CNBC? I don't know. I doubt Apple's going to do it. That seems like I don't know what that's all about. We'll see. If Apple does it, fantastic. They won't be left behind. I don't really care. Oracle does it. Then we'll be like, look, we put the pieces together, right? That's going to be great. If we see Salesforce do it, oh boy, the race is on. It's going to be tech company after tech company. We're going to love it. I'm not watching what's going on over here about any FUD that's out there today. I'm just not aware of it. I live in my own bubble. And thanks be to God for that. But I'm not sure of what's going out there or what's out there. We're going to look at price. We're going to look at the charts. We're going to make our own assumptions of what's going on over here. And that serves us well, keeping us on the right side of the market. There's a lot to talk about. Even the dollar today. We're going to talk about what's going on with the dollar. We're going to talk. It is Taco Tuesday. You guys are all over that. I'm going to have to end the session with Head Snacks CTM song over here. There is no FUD today. I didn't think. All right. Either which way. Here we are. And we had a 7% pullback on Bitcoin. That's kind of light. That's not too far at all. 10% pullback would have been, more than reasonable. 7% pullback. Let's see if we come back in and test that low again. Maybe come down a bit lower. How far? Always know. Situational awareness. What is a 20% pullback and where does that take us? 20% pullback would take us, by the way, 38,000. Right now, do you remember 38,000? 38,000 feels really good. Anything above, Bitcoin is cruising and crushing. Guess what happens now? You're trading above at 48,000, right? We traded up to 48,000. At 46,000, people are like, I don't own enough Bitcoin. It's always, remember down over here, this is your chance to buy. I circled it. I tweeted out. If you missed Bitcoin under 20,000, here's your chance to get Bitcoin under 30,000. That's reckless, Jordan. That's completely reckless. But over here, listen, 38,000, feels good. Anything above that, you should be cruising. Bitcoin starts going up and people are like, I don't own enough Bitcoin. Some people make a mistake and they FOMO and they start building up a bigger position than they should. Then what happens over here is this. Bitcoin comes back down 20% and they're like, okay, I'm still holding. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm over positioned. It doesn't feel good. 38,000 Bitcoin feels good. This doesn't feel good. And Bitcoin comes down 30%. Could it come back down to 32,000? Could it come back down? Is it possible to come back down and test that breakout again? Right? What would happen to 32,000 Bitcoin if you're in overextended over here? You're probably going to get wrecked on the easiest trade that you're the most aware of. You got to be careful. That's the point of that. That's the point of that right now, as people feel that they don't own enough Bitcoin, is just to remind you to make sure that you position yourself carefully. Make sure that you stay in a position of power and ride this wave, the bull of all bulls, Bitcoin, right? It's the battle of the billionaires. Elon is winning. What is Bezos thinking? Bezos getting ready to step down. Bezos getting ready to go ahead and do something. Who knows? I don't really care. Elon jumping in there, buying Bitcoin. Who's next? Zuckerberg? I doubt it. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Richard Branson. That's a guy. Maybe he'll step in and buy some. That would be nice to see. Either way, that's all fun. This is all about business. Let's get into it. The DXY over here is trading down today a little bit, down 0.3%, but taking out this trend line over here. This was that neckline, right? That trend line, that kind of the Winthrop trend line over here. We broke above, retested, came into our resistance, came back down over to here, and I was looking for us to stay neutral in this area. We held, we broke down below this trend line. What does it mean? The first thing I did this morning when I saw that was bring up Brad's chart over here of the DXY, going back over here to when the Fed intervened in the markets. This is when we went short. This is when we said, no, we have to go long on the dollar, right? Now, there are a lot of people who held this the whole way. They're like, yeah, dollar's strong, dollar's strong. Oh, you don't know about the financial system and the need for dollars? Over 30% of all dollars were created in 2020. Think about that. Here we are over here. And on Brad's chart, you got nice support that we're coming into. I need to put both together, right? That's what I'm doing right now this morning. We came back under that trend line. All right, let me take a look at Brad's. What's going on? Brad's chart showing me that we're into support. So that what I did was I zoomed out. Let me go ahead and show you what I did. I zoomed out. How big is that support? Is that something I should be worried about? And then over here, so oh yeah, that's a good amount. That was all resistance. That's a good level of support. I have to pay attention to that. Now, the only point in time that I become bearish on the dollar, because I am neutral right now. I'm with a bias. I am neutral. All right, sorry about that. I am neutral until we get back above this what do you call this? This trend line, this channel, trend line resistance over there. Get above there, I'm going to have to change my tune a little bit. I changed my tune already, breaking out over here, right? But, once we got rejected over here, I was definitely said, all right, no man's land, right? We're breaking down here. I'm not turning bearish. I will turn bearish if we break back below this trend line over here. That would set up a move for the 2-year low over there and breaking down below there. That could really send it. So we're going to continue to monitor it. I want everyone to see where we are. And as we look at FX this morning, as we look at US dollar pairs, keep this in mind. We're just coming into some support right now. All right. Very, 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 very important. What else? Silver. What's going on with silver this morning? Into some resistance over here at 27.64. You could see it right over there. By the way, very, very, very important over here. Let's take a look at what happened on silver just a few days ago. Remember, like, oh, it's a trap. That's what I said. Wall Street Bets was telling, they're not involved in silver. It was all a game by the hedge funds. Watch out. Really? That's a breakout retest. Let's see what we said. Back into that level of 26 and price coming down hard, down 3% already. Need to see where that happens today. If this holds today and resumes off, that gives a beautiful entry opportunity on silver. Golden. Make sure that you're watching it, right? Could we break down here and come down and all the way test down towards 25, maybe even a little bit lower? This trend line over here and this horizontal support. Yes, if that occurs, you don't want to hold really from 26 down to 25. That's a long way to go. So we'll see what happens. Just like we're going to see what happens here. Will the dollar and what happens on the dollar really from 26? This trend line, golden. Make sure that free opportunity on silver. Golden. That's what I wanted. That golden opportunity on silver right over there into 26. Very strong about those words. There we came into that 26. It held. We didn't come down further. It held. There was the entry right over there, 26.46 in that area over there into the next resistance. Stop loss to break even. Still holding, looking to push. Looking still after this breakout retest resumption to take out that swing high. This is, by the way, took out the 2020 high right over here. This took out the 2020 high. And if we take this out over here, get above 30, at that point, targeting new all-time highs in silver in 2021? I think so. I think so. So why would billionaires, by the way, the question is, why would billionaires want to buy Bitcoin, right? Well, let's talk about that for a minute before I get back into the charts over here. Let's jump ahead over here. But before we do, as we're talking about silver, let's move over to gold. This is a good chart, an important chart. It's showing the outflows of gold ETFs and the inflows into Bitcoin. This is one of the trades, one of the easiest trades all year that I'm monitoring over here, that I believe. This is gold versus Bitcoin. And you can see it here, right? We know what happens at this point in the cycle. Who would want to own gold over Bitcoin at this point in the Bitcoin bull market phase? But this is where we were tracking it over here. You could see over here also the inflows into Bitcoin, right? This is grayscale, things like that. And the outflows of gold ETFs, very important to keep track of. This over here, the global liquidity proxy. Do you remember back over in April when I was like, you can't sell stocks? You can't, April, early May, you can't sell stocks. You have to follow liquidity. Very vocal and clear about that, right? By the way, Jordan, you changed the way I look at the market. Straightforward teaching methods allowed me to grow and given the ability to teach others. Without your daily training, I would never been able to do this. I've been asked a lot about the $1.9 trillion. This is the COVID bill. The greater impact on Bitcoin or Ethereum. Do you have any insights? Yeah, so this brings me back to this chart over here, the global liquidity proxy. What just happened with the $1.9 trillion COVID stimulus bill? Well, it's followed up by the $1.1 trillion in treasury spend. It's followed up by the continued $1.4 trillion in QE purchases by the Federal Reserve. It's followed up by the $315 billion in 2021 QE purchases by the G10. Liquidity is going this way. Does that affect Bitcoin? Does that affect Bitcoin and its cycle over here? People have been asking, by the way, I have over here today, this morning to share with you where I get this Bitcoin price after halving chart. It comes over here from @halvingtracker. Halving Tracker on Twitter. By the way, this is built by, I won't even be able to say the name, Michael Goldstein. And Michael has put out a lot of steady, good content for a very long time on Bitcoin. Look, over here during this first cycle, the purple one, we had very easy monetary conditions. We had QE going. Look how Bitcoin spiked over here. In the second cycle, the darker green one, we had harder monetary conditions. The Fed was tightening over here. Still, Bitcoin did what it did to a lesser extent. In this one over here, blue, we have easy monetary conditions. We have a flood of liquidity. Is it going to affect Bitcoin and therefore Ethereum and other altcoins and you know the leaders that we've selected? By the way, look, since we added just a few days ago Binance coin to this list over here, this was over here just a few days ago. We said, all right, Binance has a utility. I like the utility. It gives lower trading fees to people on their platform. And at the same time, they're also burning from their profits a portion every quarter of the token itself. Since then, it's ramped up. That's, you know, this list over here, probably the best way to play Bitcoin. I mean, play altcoins during this phase. But that's not where I'm focused. That's not what I'm on. What I am on is over here, this liquidity over there, right? Bringing back to answer that question. Yeah, I think that definitely these easy monetary conditions. Is it the $1.9 trillion COVID bill? That's just another piece. Let's just stack it on top. But yeah, look, you can see the difference between last cycle and this cycle. And I believe that has everything to do with what's happening. Why would a billionaire want to own Bitcoin, right? Why would a public company want to own Bitcoin? Let's take a look at this over here. This is, global inflations and inflationary signals are evident everywhere. Do you remember, by the way, back over here in April and May when I was like, QE is hyper asset inflationary. And then you had these people, oh no, it's deflationary. And I had so many fights on Twitter. It's absolutely ridiculous. Either which way, you're either on the trade or you're not on the trade. You can see over here, there's a couple of charts I want to flip through really quick with you. This is the 5 and 30-year yield spread, inflationary signal rising over here. You have the commodity index starting over the summer as we were getting ready for that breakout of that trend line. Follow my mouse over here. Right? Everyone should be familiar with this. We started tracking what was happening over there with commodities. Very inflationary. Crude, I've been talking about, there's a lot of money. It's got to go somewhere. There's a lot of money slushing around. Crude is a commodity. You can see it rising over there. There's that global liquidity proxy. Look over here. Look over here. Can you imagine 2020, the Fed acted over here and people didn't understand what was going to happen to stocks, right? I was watching this conversation last night. It was really sad. It was really, 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 really a sad conversation. We had over here, we have Raoul Powell, Brent Johnson, and Peter Schiff. These three, grumpy old men. It was a terrible conversation. And in the conversation, Brett's like, yeah, the dollar milkshake is going to happen this year. I know I've been on the wrong side of the trade for a very long time, but it's going to, how long could you be wrong? And Raoul's like, yep, dollar deflation, it's coming. I'm sure of it. And Peter's Peter, right? Peter the Shill Schiff We all familiar with Peter. It was a very depressing, it was a very bad conversation. How long could you be on that wrong side of that trade over there, right? This, you can't sell stocks. Raul, very clear. Look, I'm wrong. I've been wrong.
That is actually all powerful, and we can make a lot of money from investing in that. But, you know, my own bias is I'm terrified of the US stock market, and I have been for a long time, and I've been wrong for that. I haven't been short it.
Yeah, I've been wrong. Yeah, you have been wrong for that. So what do? Do you continue to listen to people who've been wrong for a long time? Because hopefully like something happens and then they become right and they're like, yeah, look, I was right. You can't be on the wrong side of a trade for that long. It's not possible. Did Raul get Bitcoin right? Yep. Was his time in there? Yep. Let's see how he exits. Let's see if he exits and when he exits and what happens. But you have to listen to people who have a history of being right. That's what, anyway, that gets me. That's the only thing that gets me. When you get some macro guy holding on to a certain position for way too long, because there are people out there, if you don't understand the markets and finance and you're listening to that conversation, you're going to be like, oh, those guys are smart. I'm going to listen to them. You're going to lose a lot of money. It's really, Jordan, quick question over here. Listen, I've been following you on YouTube and Twitter for the past few months. I'm relatively new, but this has really changed my life. The reason I'm scared about exiting crypto at the top. You mentioned this morning one strategy might be to convert gold and ship that overseas into a vault, right? I have the slightest idea how to do that, right? So listen, how do I do that? How do I ship gold? How do I buy gold? How do I store it in another vault? By the way, what you've built here, this community, is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me and my family. Really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Why at this point in time, we're not going to be talking about the exit. And you can see people's eyes already on the exit. I love that. It's coming up more and more. This is the window. When we get over here, this is about, by the way, this is 300 and let's call it 60 days after the halving event. Right now we're 270 days. So this was about 3 months from now, right? That's still too early. We're not peaking out as we did in that first cycle over there. This was about 520 days, right? We're going to be somewhere in the middle, or maybe around 430 days, whatever it is, we'll be there. When I exit Bitcoin, everyone's going to know what I'm exiting into. I'm going to talk about. That's not where I am right now. A lot of people, that's maybe in the summer, I'll start talking about it a lot more. Right now, I need to be focused on what's happening right now, and that's making sure that I crush the trade, that I perfect the bull run over here. 3 ways to trade the bull market, and then I'm able to decide what I'm going to exit into. Exiting, by the way, into gold, physical gold, keeping it stored in a vault overseas. There are so many options. By the way, even just start with Mike Maloney's gold money, right? You could start there if you want. But there are vaults in Singapore. There are vaults in Utah. There are vaults up in Canada. You buy the gold from wherever you're storing it. You don't buy the gold here in wherever you live and then ship it overseas. That's expensive. That's extraordinarily expensive. See, gold is not like Bitcoin. To send gold somewhere, no, you buy it in wherever you, and normally, by the way, that vault that you're buying it from, if you want to sell it, they'll be the ones you could also sell it to. There are many places around the world. It's just not the time right now, but we will talk about that as we get closer. We have 1,600 people in here this morning. That's wonderful. Thanks for being here this morning. Thanks for watching. Let's take a look at what we got going on over there, right? Let's take a look at what we got going on. Sorry to squeeze in some comments. Reza, you all are fantastic. Yeah, so while we're on the conversation, Rob, though, Pax Gold, it's something to consider. It's very easy moving gold money in and out, right, of something that is digital. Pax Gold, it's accepted on a lot of exchanges. I feel good about that. There's never been any warning sign that inside of me that has said I'm worried about this. Do you prefer to have your money in Pax Gold in something like maybe BlockFi earning interest, or do you prefer that in a stable coin earning interest? Look, this market right here today is definitely moving fast. There's a lot changing. You have people like Brent Johnson and Red Rule saying, no, okay, now this is inflationary. We see the inflation, but it's temporary, right? So going back over here when I'm like, this is inflationary, they're like, no, Dr. Lacey Hunt said that this is deflationary. He's a doctor. You got to listen to him. And now they're like, okay, yeah, this is inflationary, but it's temporary. and we're going to see an enormous deflationary event that's going to wipe everything out. Okay, right. That makes, the markets are, whatever's going to be happening come the fall, early winter, I don't know. But what's happening, that's what I'm going to be following, and that's how we'll position ourselves. It's way too far out in advance. We don't need to make those plans right now. Nice, DJ. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't even see that. That's awesome. And yeah, that's where we are today. Thanks, brother. Heath, I was on Heath's live stream on Trade Talk last night, on the market recap. Definitely make sure you are following Brandon on Crypto Trades and Tech and Heath on Trade Talk. I know I do. All right, what else is going on? Let's take a look over here. Let's see what's going on across the markets. Equities, by the way, right? Doing nothing over here. Equities towards the top of that trend line over here. Look, follow my mouse towards the top of this trend line. If we break above that at any point, that's when I will alert you. If we break above this, if we see some type of price action that is like something like this, like, oh, sorry, I can't even get going today. Something like that, something that looks like this over here, or something that looks like this over here. Oh, sorry about that. Wow, Jordan, way off the ball. I need some macho over here, but if I see something like this over here, I'm going to say, all right, this is the place. Exit your equities if you're invested. We're going to see a correction. That correction will probably be a buying opportunity. But we all know, because every 3 months, people throw out, these macro guys throw out, the stock market could crash right here. And then if it crashes, they're like, see, even though I've been saying that every 3 months for the last year, it happened now. Sven from North Trump Trading or whatever, if this guy was a perma bull, this guy would be the absolute fire of the markets, right? The markets are not crashing. All right, what else? Nasdaq over here, same thing. Nothing going on over here. Equity markets continue to look beautiful over here. Even the Russell holding on to that massive gains yesterday. This is a 12, 13% move off here off that last support. So far, holding it. There's nothing to be alarmed of. The markets are not crashing. The dollar's down a little bit today. Gold a little bit bid, but getting into that resistance. It's still lagging silver, right? We've been very clear at this particular time that we should see what? We should see silver continue to outperform gold. It's been a while. Let me take a look at it. Let's see what's going on over here. All right, so what do I see over here? Well, this is first of all, I got to clean up this chart. It's been a while since we looked at it. Focus on this descending wedge over here. We broke down into the support, right? You can see then we came back up and tested that breakdown. That broken support became resistance. And then once we broke that trend line, that's when we came down and back into the support, bounced, and then broke back into that retest, dropping back down. All right. So now you can see it. I'm going to clean this up. I got to clean this up. I can't follow a chart like that. And just want to make this broken support now red. And as we are, and that's what happens over here. By the way, one of the easiest trades next time we have a crisis, because there will be another crisis. Most likely that crisis will not be to the earliest sometime in 2023, 2024, when the digital dollar is ready to be launched, because they can't have a crisis if they're not ready for it. Oh, they cause the crisis and then they provide the solution. What's the next solution going to be? Come over to the central bank digital currencies so we can completely control your life. That's the next solution. When that happens, when we're in a crisis, playing gold, long gold versus silver is one of the best trades you can. Here it is over here. This is the last crisis over here. If I take you back over here, let me come to a daily chart. If I take you back to the 2008 crisis, right? 2008, there it is again. Long gold versus silver during a crisis until the Fed acts and QE starts is one of the best trades. Keep those in mind because there will be another crisis. There will be another crisis. What? No, that's right, Wes. Janet Yellen, there'll never be another crisis in our lifetimes. Yellen. Oh, boom, boom, boom. That's right. That is absolutely right. Right? But the banks aren't lending. Yeah, that's because they're giving the money directly to the people. Did you guys, anyone from the US at any point last year get money into your bank account? They're giving money directly to the people. All right, what else is going on? Let's take a look. Let me just clean up this chart and keep focusing. I want to find out. We looked at the dollar this morning. We know what's going on with that dollar. It's on its back foot. It looks like on my chart over here, it's broken down past that trend line. That's negative. But at the same time, I have that deeper perspective here, and we're into some support. So I'm still neutral on the dollar. I'm neutral. Could the dollar go sideways for a while? Yeah. Listen, when we break above this trend line resistance over here of this channel, first Monday of 2021, I put out this video on the DXY explaining this channel over here, explaining the significance of this channel. Here's the upper trend line resistance. Here's the support. We broke down as we were coming down. I put up another video and I said, watch out. Oh, this was January 6th right there. On that video, I said, listen, we could bounce here or even a little lower here and come up and test that trend line over there. That's what happened since. We've been rejected. I'm just right now neutral. The dollar, very important to understand as we look at FX over here. Let's take a look at the Australian dollar, US dollar. Let's take a look at the euro, US dollar. Let's take a look at the pound, US dollar. Let's see what's going on. Last week during the live stream, we pointed this out over here, right? We pointed out this entry over there, the stop loss off of that trend line. Price now taking out that last bit of resistance, coming back in already for the retest, looking to continue. What do? At the time we went over this, I talked about exactly moving the stop loss to break even as you came into here, not taking any profit, looking to push this. I'm not going to get into it right now. That trade is just continuing to float. That's all. Euro US dollar, right? What's going on over here? I'm very uncertain, right? Very uncertain. So the euro's been lagging everything else. Let me clean this up. The euro's been lagging. That weak dollar, you're seeing the euro bounce a little, but that doesn't look good to me. If I pull up the true trend, for sure it's going to be negative. Let me pull up the true trend really quick. By the way, if you're watching, thanks for being here this morning. Definitely grateful for it. Yes, strong downtrend over here. Coming up into some resistance. Look, I don't know. If I have to look at something that long to make a case for it, I'm just going to back away. I'm going to move away. Let's look at the pound US dollar. Jordan, why don't you ever trade the DXY and do it via US pairs? Appreciate you. Why don't I ever trade the DXY? Look, if you're in the US, trading a CFD on the DXY is a little difficult, you know? It's a little difficult to do. Some people might have that option, but you know, why? I don't know the advantage. Are you saying because I seem to be so dialed in on the move of the DXY that in 2020 you could say one of the best analysis that I gave was on the moves of the dollar? So why don't I but the same it just translates right into the currency markets. Euro US dollar, some of the nicest trades, quickest actioning trades we took last year. Pound US dollar, ooh, into the resistance right now. I'm going to step back to the daily. Take a look at this. Right? I want to see on the 3-day, just try to get my awareness of what's coming. Look at this multi-year trend line, 13-year trend line, the breakout into the resistance now. It's a big level. Get above this resistance, by the way. You all know since January, we've been tracking the move on the pound. It's been a slow and steady climb upwards. It's as if the pound is slowly being repriced after all of the nonsense in 2020 with Brexit and non-Brexit. And whatever happened, I don't even know what happened. It was like a Brexit with a deal. Who knows? But there's that trend line break, false break into the support up again. This time it held the support, the trend line over there. This time it held. And then since then now into the resistance. Get above here. That opens up easier longs, right? Are we going to see that? We'll check out the dollar if we break below that support. The dollar breaking below that support. And by the way, we could still hold that trend line support down lower. Right down over here, but breaking through that support, that gives a pretty big move on the dollar. Could that see the pound over here breaking above that resistance? Yeah, that's something to watch. You got to get above the resistance first. It's something to watch. What's going on with the euro British pound over here, right? Euro British pound continues to melt down ever since we've been tracking the break of that support. Coming in, just broke this line of support. I flipped it over to resistance now. We're just testing that. That's not interesting right now, so I'm going to keep on moving. Euro New Zealand dollar. Look at this. The support is holding. Let's take a better look at it. I want to see how big that support is. That's a pretty big line of support I have over here. That's a big line of support. We're holding, not bouncing, just basically lifelining here. Breaking down below that sets up the next leg for that. It's not interesting. I'm just kind of doing a quick analysis here until I see something that is interesting, and then I'll get a little more focused in on it. What about this? Pound Japanese yen. Everyone has been following, knows that I've been tracking this also. That's why I have it even blue, breaking this trend line over here, lagging other Japanese yen pairs. But now I'm seeing the pound repriced. This is all bullish for me, breaking that trend line. Are we targeting up here this year? Come back down over here to the 8-hour, right? This was Dave during the CTM live training session last Thursday added this trend line in. I did not have it on my chart. I was so grateful to add it in, understanding why. I've already shared that with all of you. So I'm not going to, but it was touching this over there. There's another one above there, and this one right here in December, the first one in January, and then back into June 2016. That's a line I wish I had on my chart. Dave, thank you for helping me add that. If I had it on my chart as we came back and tested it and then broke out over, that's a conquering the markets all day long. That's an entry I would have taken. So anyway, you live and you learn. Always be ready to learn, looking to learn. Over here, though, I see a bull flag developing, right? A bull flag. Follow my mouse over here. That last bit of resistance, now support. Is this getting ready for an entry on the pound Japanese yen? It looks good to me. I'm going to move this actually from blue to green, and that's something I'll be dialed into tonight. What else? New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So this is above this resistance right now. We looked at the US dollar. We looked at the Australian dollar, US dollar. It looked entirely bullish, right? We're looking now at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, another commodity pair. It also looks very bullish. Look at that breaking above that resistance coming in right now for the retest. A resumption off there absolutely is conquering the markets all day long. It's Tuesday. There are setups setting up for tonight. We're going to see what happens. What else? I want to see the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, right? I want to see the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Looking to see if something clicks. Looking to see if... So I'm more focused, actually, on US dollar pairs than Japanese yen pairs right now, with the exception of the British pound, Japanese yen. No, nothing. Do you see this? Sideways. Nothing. Right? So where does that leave us? Let's take out some crosses. This is the euro. So I feel like this is one of the worst trades all year. Not taking that short out of that huge consolidation. I took the long, stopped out. Anyway, that's for my own mind. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Trying to see what's going on over here. I don't see much going on. I just have a feel for that. I'm going to back off there. I want to come back into crypto. There's only a few things that I'll be looking at tonight. I'll be looking at the pound Japanese yen. I'll be looking at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, right? Breaking above that resistance, looking to confirm that to support right now, a resumption off there. The Australian dollar, US dollar, everyone should already be in. Now that's also setting up there. It's similar to the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, right? What else? Let's go back over here. Let me take a look at what's going on in FX. Bitcoin almost unchanged now after that 7% drawdown. Interesting, right? Fine. What's going to be the next fuel for that fire? We'll find out soon. I'm targeting, by the way, just so everyone knows now, in the $70,000 area next, right? By the way, as we get closer, I'll be pulling up this chart. I'll be looking at what happens as we come into this area. This is Will's log chart. Lines of cloned trend lines showing us resistance above. Right now it's coming in around, I'm going to call it $70,000. That, by the way, is also me taking 150% off the $29,000 low, sending us towards 70,000 also. As you know, in 3 ways to trade the Bitcoin bull market, in strategy number 3, I look for 150 to 170% as where that next leg up peaks. So all those things we'll continue to put together. Canadian dollar, US dollar. Before I get into crypto, let me check out that for sure. So US dollar, Canadian dollar, right? I have a good read on it. So just in order for you to have that good read on it, I want you to see also, this is the trend lines we've been following, this pair over here, right? This was the breakout where we all went long over here. It just unfolded a lot quicker than I expected. I thought that was a pretty huge move over here, right? But this was the dollar milkshake happening right over here in real time. All right, now come back. So we're focused on that trend line over there. Come back over here. There, here. Sorry about that. Look, right now this trend line, we've come in and we've held that as support, right? We're in no man's land, just like the US dollar. When I'm saying the dollar's trading sideways and it's neutral, so is this. There's just no edge right now. Do not get caught up in a chop. One of the best things you can do is avoid sideways markets, right? We are trend traders. We're looking to buy off support in uptrends, sell off resistance in downtrends, avoid markets that are not moving. There's simply no edge right here, right now. You could see the strength is coming much more from the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar. They're cleaner trades. I would avoid this. So, yeah, 160,000, the math I did, by the way, I said I was wrong all the way back early December that we're not seeing any type of diminishing returns. I was very clear about that. I want to be very, very clear about that right now. It was all the way back in December. I said, look, I did the math way back early in 2020. People thought I was crazy when I said 160,000, 140,000 mission accomplished. I don't think they think that anymore. We're really not too far away now, are we? As Bitcoin's trading almost to the milestone of 50,000. 50,000, not a big deal. 100,000, not a big deal. 160,000, is that a big deal? That's when it's going to be getting fun. That's when it's really going to be getting fun, and we're going to be really heightened looking for wherever our exit is. I don't know where it'll be. I don't know wherever it'll be. So what's my favorite indicator that predicts the top of the Bitcoin cycle? Look, there's a couple that we look at. If you go back to the Bitcoin playlist, you're going to see all of them. Really study all those videos. The cycle pie over here, this is Bitcoin. I was using the pie cycle over there. You can see it over here. When you get across in the past, look, remember I told you that this last peak over here was going to start looking small? Do you see it already starting to look small? It's going to get tiny. It's going to get tiny. Being able to kind of picture what's going to happen in the future, that's what you need to be able to do. I remember back in February, early February, watching a chart of the global map of the virus and being able to visualize how every was going to go to a dark red, right? Being able to predict these trends as they're occurring in real time. That's what you're looking to do. Across over here, when the yellow line crosses the green line, back in this past second cycle over here, December 2017, gave the perfect. Do you see how these things start shrinking? This looked big, right? And then look, small. This one looked huge. Now small. It's going to get smaller. Also, we had a double wave in the first cycle. The pi cycle gave a nice exit for each of these waves. I will be watching this. I'll be consulting the pi cycle as we get closer, and it's time. I will also be watching the R hodl to make sure that it's ready for a cycle peak exit. I'm also watching how many days after the halving over here. This is my exit zone, right? In here, this is my exit zone between this peak and this peak. And right now, we're between this peak and this peak. So it's going to be somewhere around here. Around September 21st, that's when I'm looking for that peak. From then on, my awareness is going to be heightened. I'm going to be really dialed in. Everyone's getting a little bit ahead. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. So maybe listen, Warrior, if you're new here, welcome. Earlier this morning I talked about what happens next with Oracle, Salesforce. That's something that's been an ongoing conversation, and I'm not following the news cycle because you all remember when Michael Saylor tweeted at Elon, and then Elon flew to Hawaii. I put the pieces together and told you, hey, listen, I think he went to go speak to Larry Ellison, the CEO of Oracle, who sits on Tesla's board, who's been rumored that they were looking to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, to ask him if he should do it, right? So that's all nonsense. That is all nonsense. That's not something we're focused on. By the way, Elon needed Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not need Elon, and Elon knows now that it was inevitable. That's why he did it. It's the same thing with the other tech companies. By the way, where was I? I was looking at a chart over here. Let me come back. Bear with me 1 second. It's very important. This is what I want to get back to. Let me come to Zero Hedge. Let me follow what I was talking about this morning with you with inflation. If I could find it over here somewhere. This is what I want. Follow me over here. We're talking about this is where I left off on crude and then the global liquidity proxy. Raul got me all sidetracked over here, right? There's going to be remember last weekend? Alert, alert. There could be a big insolvency event this week. The markets are not crashing, right? Over here, what do we got going on over here? We got all signs of inflation. We got all signs of inflation across the markets, right? Now, and then they call Bitcoin the inflationary indicator. I don't buy that, not in my mind. Is it a good hedge against inflation? Yeah. Should billionaires buy Bitcoin to protect themselves from inflation? If they don't, they're going to feel by the way, billionaires go bankrupt. Remember just last year, 2020, Brazilian billionaire bankrupt. If these guys are not careful, they're going to get slaughtered. It happens when this is right here, though. Perhaps all those corporations building reserves of crypto on their balance sheets are on to something after all. Did Tesla have a choice? Will all that follow have a choice if they want to stay competitive and relevant? Because what's happening here is that the central banks are devaluing all fiat currency. It is inflationary. I don't care what people tell you about but the banks aren't lending. Are you kidding? Anyway, here we go. Let me get back into that flow. I don't like getting distracted. Let's get some likes here. Let's get me fired up. I want to get going over here as we get into crypto. Bitcoin over here holding on to yesterday's massive gains. We were all tracking this. Everyone following this felt good. This whole 30% pullback, waiting for the break of the trend line. There we go. Took out the new high. It all looks good. Ethereum, by the way, Ethereum's getting ready perhaps for a hard fork this year. Ethereum's getting ready perhaps for a hard fork that would take all of the fees that the miners collect, right? It would make them a flat fee depending on what the volume is like. It would be a variable flat fee. And then they would start burning supply from Ethereum. Is that bullish from Ethereum? Do you know what bull markets do, by the way? They take something that's coming in the future and they use it as hype to ramp up. Are people going to be buying just the speculation of Ethereum implementing a hard fork that could be diminishing the supply of Ethereum? You betcha. This is a bull market. The piranhas are biting everywhere. It's something we'll take a look at. I'll put together some information for you. Maybe Brandon has done it already on Crypto Trades and Check. I'll check in with him. Is Cardano too. Cardano for sure. Brandon was calling Cardano down at 10 cents. Calling at it going towards $1. If you want to find out, if you're interested in Cardano, is it a killer? Look, a basket of altcoins, the top altcoins is the way to do it. You don't know which one's going to wind up on top. Ethereum for sure has the most network effects for a protocol. The most is being built on top of Ethereum, right? The thing about it, anything that could be built on top of one could be built on another. And the most decentralized of them all is Bitcoin. Right? When you talk about decentralized finance, you're talking about Bitcoin. But we don't have to worry about that, David. You're right about buy the rumor, sell the news. We don't have to worry about that. Why? Because we understand the cycle. We understand Bitcoin's the rising tide that lifts all boats. And we know where, by the way, if you haven't watched the video, right, my price prediction on Ethereum and altcoins and when and where to exit, just have the easiest understanding of this alt season right over here. By the way, right? So someone who's like, listen, you can't sell stocks right now. Look at the liquidity. You got to take a look at what's going on over here. QE is uber asset inflationary. Stocks go up, right? Someone who's like, listen, all the way back in January of 2020 is listen, alt season is going to be 6 months after the Bitcoin halving, showing past cycles and why, and then boom, it happens, right? You got to pay attention. And right now I'm telling you, instead of trying to time the top of these altcoins and when it will be and what price it will be, understand the cycle of Bitcoin, which is the rising tide that lifts all boats. After we exit Bitcoin, Ethereum's going to peak shortly thereafter. The last 30 days, by the way, of alt season over here is going to be the most drastic increase in price. Do you exit Bitcoin at the time to exit Bitcoin into altcoins and ride that burst? depends what your risk tolerance is. As someone who probably has the most risk tolerance among us, I'm also the most risk adverse. I'm just looking to make to take the trade, to make the most important trade that matters, and to ride it to the perfection that I'm able to, whatever my limits and capacity are. That's what I'm looking to. I'm looking for that sure shot, right? Any Beastie Boy fans in here? By the way, big shout out to anyone from Long Island who's listening here this morning. Big shout out to everyone. Yeah, so just answered that question. Yeah, there are ways to go about. We're not talking about that now, right? We're not talking. Does it make? Let me talk about that right now, really quick. By the way, I'm not a tax advisor. Anything I say is I'm not an investment advisor. If you listen to me and if I'm like, hey, right now Ethereum looks good and you buy it, I guarantee you're going to lose money because you don't know what you're doing. But I do believe if you follow every live stream over here, because I see these comments all the time and they are so special to me. Thank you for sharing with me. But if you follow the live streams, if you learn how to think for yourself, if you learn how to manage risk, if you learn how to position your trade, if you learn how to set your stop losses, if you learn how to push your trades, then it's all going to click. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be like, as we saw yesterday, a couple of comments I highlighted. Jordan, I'm finally becoming the trader I only dreamed about, and it's because of you. Well said, Matt. I've traded for 25 years, and I never had this kind of consistency. It feels wonderful. If you learn to do it for yourself, working with me, then you're going to learn to do it yourself, right? So anyway, the question was that I don't know how I got distracted. Yeah, we got a bunch of Beastie Boys in here. All right. Paul's Boutique. What legendary. Legendary. All right. So I was looking for something over here, though. Long Island. All right. Brooklyn, close enough. Well, Brooklyn, yeah. But it highlighted. That was a special shout out to Long Island and Strong Island. And that was as I was making my coffee this morning. What I was thinking, the Beastie Boys triggered that for me. The question was, I was trying to get over here, right? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a tax advisor, right? But the question is, the thought of experiment, why would you pay 40% capital gains? If you have to pay 40%, why would you sell? What's your nominal tax rate, by the way, right? Maybe it's a lot lower, so that's more attractive to you. If it were, look, I'm not a tax advisor, but you have to think through everything, right? For me, it would be no difference, right? For you, or insignificant difference. Maybe for someone else, maybe they're paying no tax. I don't know how much they make, right? Maybe they're paying whatever, 24%. I don't know. So would you want to hold something for less than a year and pay less tax on it? Of course. Do the math, figure it out, right? However, if you pay 40% caps gains, the caps gains is not going to be it's not going to rise to 40% in 2021. If that does happen, right? It's going to be for 2022 first of all. So everyone here will have the exit ahead of time anyway, in my opinion. If you had to pay the 40% though, capital gains, does it make sense to pay 40% capital gains, put your money into a stable coin, collecting 6 or 8% interest for a year and a half, 2 years, and then 15 months before the next halving, as we accumulate at the cycle low, does it make sense to buy back that Bitcoin? Yeah, do the math. It makes sense. Don't be afraid to pay taxes. Be happy to pay taxes. That's the whole point, to make money so you can pay taxes. Anyway. Whoa. Still riding the Beastie Boys, right? Paul Revere. Beautiful. That was beautiful to see also, Joe. That was beautiful to see also, right? So what else? Just trying to catch up with some comments over there. Hicksville, right? Beautiful. That's when I got into the markets. I had my own lease financing business over in Hicksville with my office with my partner. We worked hard, 2 young guys with their own corporation. But I spent equally as much time, 40 hours a week, studying the markets. It's a passion that's continued. All right. What else we got going on over there? Listen, just one quick bit of advice from someone who's lived on multiple continents across the world. Like, don't leave where you live in order to avoid taxes. If you're doing it, do it for another reason, right? Because, you know, if you do live in the States, there are certain things that you're accustomed to and used to. It's not like that in other parts of the world. So, you know, you might be in for a rude awakening, right? And if you're living life to save money on taxes, like, anyway, anyway, lower your time preference, take the course, trade paper during the bear market, and be ready to kill in the time the bottom is in. And that's beautiful, Gene. And Gene is all over the importance of lower time preference. I get that signal over and over again. This over here, as I talk about the peak, right? This over here is the low. I've shown you on the chart showing how many more months to the next halving, 15 months to the next halving. That's the cycle low, right? That's when we're going to be dialed in. You're going to have the opportunity to do this all over again. And no matter what people tell you, right? Well, the institutions have entered and there's going to be a super cycle. And, you know, anyway, we'll continue to crush it together. We'll continue to crush it together. That's all I could say. What else are we looking at this morning? I don't feel like leaving you all. I don't feel like leaving you all because I feel like we've, you know, we've covered what we need to cover. Let's take a look at some crosses. Let's take a look at some crosses over here, right? Ethereum, Bitcoin, alt season, right? What do I expect? Let's just talk about this really quick. Let's focus in on right now all these crosses and these altcoins and figure out what's going on, because I purposely waited for a few days. I purposely waited for a few days to pass. It was right over here before we broke out. I said to you, if Bitcoin breaks out first, I did not know if Bitcoin would break out first or if Ethereum would be in lockstep with Bitcoin. Remember that I said that to you? But I said if Ethereum breaks out first, you could see altcoins versus Bitcoin draw down a bit. So I said, everyone, be careful. Well, that's what happened. I didn't know this was going to happen, but it was one of the scenarios that I knew could happen, right? So anyway, you saw Ethereum, Bitcoin lead the way. So we should see a lot of, you know, Bitcoin pairs, you know, altcoins feeling the burn over here. But if you look at what's happening over here, is this opportunity. People like to chase momentum, right? You could see a 20% pullback. Could we have a 30% pullback into that heavy support? Of course we can. Is this a place to begin perhaps buying in? Maybe if you're looking to start nibbling in here. When's the place to look for a break? I don't know yet. I don't know if we're going to spike up. I don't know if we're going to continue to consolidate. Maybe we'll have a trend line to work off of. I don't know what's going to happen yet. All as I do know is that Ethereum, Bitcoin, I expect that it's going to make. I do expect it's going to eventually make higher highs over here. I think right now this is an opportunity as prices pull back 20% to begin nibbling. You can see the support over here. This was resistance. Follow the mouse over. Strongest support down 30%. And by the way, why Bitcoin we expect for that 30% plus drawdown at any time, you could have on altcoins a greater than 30%. Ethereum has respected that 30%, by the way. So Ethereum is maturing a little bit. You see that over there? That's a 33% drawdown. All right. So what else? Let's check out Aave Bitcoin. I just want to gauge the feel of the market here. This is a 30% pullback, right? Should people right now be moving out of the spike of Bitcoin, those that are more active, into these altcoins right now, right? Uniswap, this is versus dollar, by the way, but look what's happening over here. We have that big move up, consolidation. We like that. Just trying to get a feel myself. DOT, Bitcoin back into the strong support. A little bit less of a pullback. That could be more. That could be bullish, right? But it's had from the top over there, an 18% pullback, right? So I'm liking what I'm seeing on these Bitcoin crosses, right? What else do we got going over here? This is Chainlink Bitcoin. It's obviously been lagging when we talk about some other projects. Those other projects, Aave, Uniswap, DOT, even Cardano, Theta, right? But nevertheless, Chainlink is Chainlink. I think, how far of a pullback is that? I need to see. Hold on one second. All right. So what I do here, this is a 37% pullback. It does look attractive. This is resistance. Let me fix this over. But I caution, not as attractive as some other things, in my opinion. What about Cardano versus Bitcoin? Right. Let's take a look at it. That was a 23% pullback. It already seems to be finding that support right over there and already looking to resume off. Let's come down to the 8-hour over here. Is that giving us buy signal over there on Cardano Bitcoin, making that higher high over that support we just looked at, pulled back 30%, right? When you could cap your risk. You don't have to be right. You could be wrong half the time and do plenty well. But you got to push your winners, right? And you will get them. Anyway, that's the focus. Do you see that where I'm guiding you? Do you see where I'm guiding you? Caution. If Bitcoin breaks out in leads, you could feel a pain on altcoins versus Bitcoin. That happened. I didn't know it was going to happen, but that happened. And now I'm like, wait, do you see the opportunity? The dance, the altcoin dance during the bull market phase. Yeah, and this is even better. Gene, I'm going to defer to Gene over here. I'm going to defer to Gene over here, not liking the idea of trading against Bitcoin while it's in price discovery, and only because, listen, I think that we're targeting in the $70,000 area next, right? And I don't think that, I think it's going to be relatively quick amount of time that we get there, right? So definitely take into consideration what Gene is saying over there as well, right? And again, just because I'm attracted to something doesn't mean that you should do it. We need 10 more likes or 100 more likes here for 1,000 likes. We've been putting up 1,000 like videos over here, and I'm grateful for it. But we have less people in the room today. We have 1,600 people in the room today with 900 likes. So actually, that like ratio is pretty strong. That's awesome. What else? What else do we see over there? Why don't you believe in the super cycle? What if institutions begin? So that's a great question, Paul, right? Why don't you believe in the super cycle? Do I believe that by the way, the super cycle, I guess it's a catchy name, right? If you saw the interview with Dan Held on what Bitcoin did, he's like, listen, did you come up with the super cycle? And he's like, well, Bitcoiners have been talking about this since forever. But no one's ever called it the super cycle before. Oh, great. Hyper Bitcoinization, will it take place and when? Right now, I attribute about a 5 to 7% chance of that happening. Right at the top of the peak of when I exit my Bitcoin, I'll hold 5 to 7% in Bitcoin. We'll see what happens in case it catches on, but we are far from that, in my opinion. We'll be closer, in my opinion, when Bitcoin is able to surpass the market cap of gold. Maybe then the odds will be 14% chance, 20% chance. But just because institutions are buying, by the way, when institutions buy Bitcoin and all of a sudden in maybe 5 months, Bitcoin goes, not even 5 months, whatever. When Bitcoin goes from 50,000 to 100,000, institutions have to rebalance quarterly, not public companies. Those that are putting Bitcoin as a reserve asset on their balance sheet, they could hold that. They don't have to sell that to rebalance. But a lot of these funds, they do all the time. There will be a new selling pressure on Bitcoin that we haven't seen before, right? What's going to happen as Bitcoin does? See what happens over here, though, is we have, this is just, you all are familiar with the Wall Street cycle, which happens over and over again. I'll pull it up another day. What I want you to understand over here is what happens over here is speculation caused by the supply shock at the halving event, which causes attraction to Bitcoin as the price continues to rise, which will cause normal market participant behavior, including lots of FOMO, right? And it causes this massive blow off top in Bitcoin. That happens over and over again. As you get that blow off top, you get a massive dump, probably about 50% within a week around that time. And then you have that bounce of hope, right? Oh, okay. Oh, it's going to go back up again. And then that's when it rolls over. It's just market dynamics playing out over here, all caused by the halving event every 4 years. Institutions are going to be privy to that too. They're going to have to, and a lot of them, as they FOMO on the way up, they're going to FOMO on the way down. There's going to be capitulation. There's going to be selling. It's too soon for hyper Bitcoinization. It's way too early. It's way too soon. And if you understand that, and if you're able to play the 4-year cycle, because there's so much there's enough opportunity to create generational wealth. But if you get caught up in all of the people trying to get you to sign up for their newsletter, and over here as we're peaking, and Bitcoin's going to $1 million, Bitcoin, it's going to happen. Everyone is going to be saying this time is different. I'm going to exit. I don't know how right I'm going to be on my exit. I'm going to do it as best as I can. But Bitcoin could fly up another $30,000-$50,000 from my exit in a day. Who knows, right? But everyone's going to be like, Bitcoin's going to $1 million. This time's different. Blah, blah, blah. And watch what happens. But then I'll be able to go ahead, convert back in over here, and ride it again. Where does Bitcoin go next cycle as we overtake the market cap of gold, or I think potentially overtake the market cap of gold? Or are we going to see a $500,000 Bitcoin and or higher? I think so, right? I'm going to be there to ride it. What about this period of the bear market? Will I sell Bitcoin? Of course I won't sell Bitcoin. Will I be selling all coins versus Bitcoin? We'll talk about that as we get to it. We'll talk about that as we get closer, and it's time to talk about it. It's not time. Right now is the time to be hyper-focused on the trade that matters and making sure that we stay in the flow of the market, making sure that we're able to go over here and ride the bull of all bulls, right? Hanks, thanks, brother. Thank you, Hank, for being here. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for supporting this stream. And listen, everyone who in the morning is like, good morning, everyone. Thank you for supporting the stream. That's what it's all about over here, right? Zach, great question again, right? I like that everyone is, I do like, it's early to be focused on the exit, but I do at the same time like that everyone now sees the exit, that everyone now sees, oh, wait a second, we're onto something. Actually, I didn't believe him when at $9,000, or sorry, on this channel at $7,000, $8,000, when he's like, Bitcoin's going to 18,000 by December. What? Hey, Jordan, do you still believe that? Bitcoin trading over here was in September, over here at under 10,000, around 10,000. You still think by December this is going to 18,000? It went higher. I always put out targets there that I believe will be higher. Now people are believers, I think. Bitcoin trading at 46,000. Worried about the exit. Am I going to exit scale out? No, I'm going to go all out at the time. It's time to go all out. I'm not going to scale out. I'm pretty confident about what I do and how I do it. When it's time to exit, that's a full exit for me. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we're here all the time. So, that's the chat. I love it. No. So, Paul, I think that it's a great question. Do I think that we peak sooner? So I think that over here, when you look at the trajectory, and do you remember when we came in? By the way, this is super important. Great questions all around. As we came into 40,000 and we were going vertical into that resistance that we all were aware of, I called out from over here at 16,200. I said my eyes are on 40,000, 40,500. I said, right? We traded up to 42,000, right? Listen, at that point, if we went vertical, if we went towards $70,000 and or 100, I would have said, listen, we're going vertical. We're going to have a double wave, and that means we're going to have a bigger drawdown. That didn't happen, and we only had a 30% drawdown, right? So this is all great and healthy. All I can say is this was very easy monetary policy. Bitcoin was very new, right? Right over here, this was Bitcoin more mature with a tighter monetary policy. We're back over here with a big catalyst. We are seeing big money moving into Bitcoin. Tesla, $1.5 billion. MicroStrategy, $1.3 billion. And now the FOMO begins. Tesla made the move. Now the rest have to follow. Who's going to follow? We don't know, but others will be following, right? How is Bitcoin going to trade over $100,000? Where's the money going to come from? That was the questions I got 4 years ago during the last bull market or bear market, whatever, 2018, right? Here we are. Now everyone understands, oh, all right. So I think that we're not going to peak out like in the first cycle, but the peak out is going to be higher than in the second cycle. This puts us somewhere over here. We'll continue to monitor it. If all of a sudden, the FOMO did start Bitcoin to all of a sudden trade in an unreasonable amount of time above 100,000, and it was going straight up vertical. If the R hodl, by the way, let me pull it up. Let me pull up the R hodl. What Bitcoin did. No, not what Bitcoin did. Look into Bitcoin. Oh, I get to take a breath. I get to take a breath. Charts. I'm looking for our hodl ratio. So this over here gives us an indication of when we're ready for our cycle top. When we're in this red area, this red zone over here, if we get that pi cycle occurring in that red zone, that would be an indication that I'm ready to exit, right? You could see during this first double wave peak over here, right here, over here when we peaked out over here in that first wave early for that double wave, the R hodl was not yet red oversold, right? So there was no reason for us to think that that was the end of the cycle. You probably didn't know that then, right? You probably even know, or you know it now, all right? And you can see that we still have a ways to go over here. So this has been fun. This has been fun. I thank each and every one of you for doing this with me. I really, really enjoy it. How much dry powder percentage to keep around? I don't really understand that question, so I can't answer it. But if you're interested in understanding things like how to trade Bitcoin lightly leveraged or even more, right? We did that in the training video 2 weeks ago. The course information is below. You have access not only to that video, last week's video, how to push trades, how to push your winners, but every single live training session we've ever done together, you have access to the whole library. But that's what you're looking for. Oh boy. Right? XRP. I warned you guys all year. Right? Listen. Anyway. Those that know. Those that know. Those that know. I love you all. I'm really grateful for Giles. Thank you. It's been a beautiful session. We're gonna go out with some beautiful music. Right? Let's do it together. Oh no. I take that back. I take that back. We're going to first have some fun together because we deserve it. It's Taco Tuesday. We put in a good session.
Markets, analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing, the prices might be slashing, just to pretend they're in fashion. Hit the like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room, grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Flow from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day.
Absolutely love it. So yeah, so listen, this is the question over Winthrop. I understood the question, but why I said I didn't understand it is because of this. So when I'm trading the currency markets over here, I use a fraction of my account, right? We're very risk adverse. Whether you're risking 0.5% or 1%, you're only taking 3 trades a week maximum, you're using only a small fraction of your dry powder, so to speak. And now when you talk about Bitcoin over here, right? Oh, I was fully positioned, half of my net worth into Bitcoin, average price somewhere just above $9,000. Right? So now we're trading up at $46,000. I mean, I got a massive amount of dry powder, don't you think? So I don't trade off of, right, how much liquidity I have. But if you're interested in trading Bitcoin leveraged, right, and you're wondering how much of that leverage do you use, how do you keep it as the market moves up and down at the right amount, you need to watch the CTM live training session that we did 2 weeks ago, how to trade Bitcoin lightly leveraged. But that's why I don't understand that question, because I don't trade off of or keep a certain amount of liquidity like that. Most of my funds are liquidity, if you think about it. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. All right, let's go ahead and let's go out with our outro. That's right. That's right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much to all of you helping make this community what it is. A big, big shout out to everyone, to Stefano, to George, Pure Vita, Kamentry, everyone helping to moderate, everyone helping to make this community what it is. I am grateful. Thank you, everybody. For real, thank you so much. Please do not ever get tired. It helps me so much to keep going when I see the type of feedback that's happening, the lives being changed. I'm grateful for it. The question was, can we look at the long-term cup and handle on silver? We've looked at that before on this channel. We'll look at it again. But right now, if you want to be following what's going on with silver, what we're doing here, the work that we continue to do is giving, I believe, the best way to trade it. It's coming off the 8-hour right now. We're following the flow here. That was the last. Remember, I put out the extra video as we came into 26, the day that everyone was writing off silver because Wall Street bets, the minuscule Wall Street bets, was not involved. And I'll continue to do that, doing our best to make sure that we all stay on the right side of the markets. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing in all this with me. I'm grateful to you, and I'll talk to you later.